Good morning, kids. How are you guys doing today? In today's Bible story, we are continuing to talk about David. Now remember, last week, Samuel anointed David because one day David would become king because he was who God chose to be king instead of who the people chose, who was Saul. Now, today, Saul, the current king, has a problem. There's a group of people called the Philistines, and they have come to Israel because they want to fight and they want to take over. But instead of fighting like a big battle and a big war where lots of people will die, they did this thing where they sent their best champion, their biggest, strongest soldier, to fight Israel's biggest, strongest soldier. And their strongest, biggest soldier was a man named Goliath. Now, Goliath was huge, and he had armor, heavy armor that only he could carry because he was so big and strong, and he had like a giant spear that was like longer than a person, so he could stab you before you could even get close to him. Goliath was scary, and he steps out, and he's like, "Send me your best champion, and we'll fight. And if you win, we'll be your servants. But if we win, we take your land and you will serve us." And Saul's over there like biting his nails. He's so nervous, right? And he's looking around and he's like, "Who wants to go fight him?" No one does. Everyone's terrified. Everyone's terrified. Now, last week we talked about how David was the youngest, littlest brother. So 3 of his brothers, the oldest 3 actually, are in the army. They're soldiers. And they're right there with Saul, like, I don't want to fight Goliath, right? And so David's dad one day tells David, he's like, "Go bring some bread and some food to your brothers who are at the front line." So David goes and he's marching along. He comes up to the soldiers and he's finding his brothers to give him food. And as he's looking for his brothers, he hears Goliath. And it's actually day 40 of Goliath coming out and challenging the Israelites. And he's like, "Come on, you big babies. It's been 40 days. No one wants to fight me." Right? And David hears them. And then he looks around at Saul and the other soldiers. And he's like, "Are you going to let this guy insult you like this? Like, how come no one's doing anything?" And his brothers are like, "Well, if you think you're so cool, why don't you go fight him?" And David's like, "I will. I'll fight him." And Saul's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. You're way too little, right? You're just a shepherd. You can't fight Goliath." And David's like, "I've killed lions and bears protecting my sheep, and I'll get rid of him just like he's one of the bears." And Saul's like, "Okay, but before you go, take my armor," right? And remember, Saul is a tall guy with big muscles. David's a little guy. And so when David puts on Saul's armor, it's like way too big for him. And it's way too heavy and he can't even walk. And so David's like, "Forget this. I don't need this. I have my sling and I pick up some stones." So he marches out to the battlefield and he's like, "Goliath, I challenge you." What do you think Goliath must have been thinking? He's like, "Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? You send a little boy to fight me?" Right? But he's like, "All right, I'll do it." And Goliath is over there getting ready with his big spear, all his armor. And David's at the other end of the battlefield with a little slingshot. And he puts a stone in the slingshot, starts whirling it around. It's not like one of these slingshots. It's like you spin it around to get momentum, and then you flick your wrist, and it shoots the stone out. And so he shoots the stone out, and like before Goliath can even realize what's happening, the stone cracks him in the forehead, and all his heavy armor and all his size bring him down to the ground. David has just defeated Goliath. Now, I'm sure the Philistines were shocked. They were like, I didn't think there was any way we could lose, right? And the Israelites are just as surprised. And how do you think the Israelites feel about David? Do you think they love him? Do you think they're so proud of him? Right? They're like hoisting him on their shoulders. David, David, David. Right? They love David. But we'll talk about it next week. That becomes a problem. That becomes a problem. But that's it for this week. That is the story of David and Goliath. And so what do we learn from that, right? Well, I think we can learn a lot of things. But maybe in life, we feel like we're the underdog. We're outmatched. We're not ready for whatever we're facing, right? Whatever we're facing seems too big and too scary to take it head on. But look at how God helped David. And what did David do? Did he try to fight him like a soldier would? No. He used his brains, right? He thought, I can't take him like head on, but I know what I'm good at. And so I'll do it in a creative, different way that no one's expecting. So you can come at problems that feel too big or overwhelming in creative and different and exciting and cool ways, right? Use the brain that God gave you to think up a solution to a problem that feels too big for you to handle, right? I love you guys. I'm praying for you. I hope you're doing well. I can't wait to see you soon. Talk to you next week. Goodbye!